Researching UH history at UH Special Collections. My name is Mary Manning, and I am presenting today with my colleague Bethany Scott. Don't sweat taking notes today. We'll provide a resources page at the end of the presentation that will contain the URLs for all the resources we look at today. Additionally, we provided your professor with a PDF and a recording of this presentation for your review later. Let's define special collections and archives before we look at the resources we have here at UH Special Collections. Special collections consist of special book collections, like you see on the left, and archival collections, like you see on the right. Archives are a collection of historical materials that document a business or an organization, or a person or a group of people. Example of archival collections at UH Special Collections include the Philip G. Hoffman papers, the Leinhardt family papers, UH President's Office records. Additionally, the term archives can refer to the place the archival collections are stored and the organization who manages the collections. What might you find in archival collections? You might find paper documentation such as correspondence, meeting agendas and minutes, pamphlets, flyers, etc. But you can also find photographs, audiovisual materials, born digital materials, textiles, scrapbooks, etc. We will talk more about book collections when we explore how to use the Special Collections catalog. Let's learn about UH Special Collections resources and services by exploring the UH Special Collections homepage. Here's the URL for our homepage. It can easily be found by Googling or searching any browser for UH Special Collections. This is especially handy if you don't have the URL on you. Our homepage is your one-stop shop for everything you need for research at UH Special Collections. All the search tools that we will review today can be found at the top of the UH Special Collections homepage. Information about UH Special Collections and our services can be found a little further down our homepage. And towards the bottom of the page, you can find our collecting areas. Look at all the different subjects that we cover. Each of the collecting area listed here is a live link to what we call portal pages. So you can link on any of these and find out more information about that collection. Each portal page will have information on the archival and digital collections in that collecting area. It will also contain information on how to contact the curator of that collection for more information. For example, if you click on the University of Houston Archives hyperlink on this page, it will take you to the UH Archives portal page. Here's a link to the UH Archives portal page. It contains a list of all the UH related finding aids and digital collections. You can also find my contact information on this page, and I am happy to help you in your information search. So we're going to search the finding aid database, but what is a finding aid, you may ask? A finding aid describes a specific archival collection. They're created by archivists and used by researchers to help determine if the material in a collection is relevant to their research. It's an inventory of what's in the collection and is often listed by box and folder number. It contains descriptive information about the collection and the person or organization that created it. Terms to know when navigating a finding aid. The structure of a finding aid is hierarchical and represents the way the materials in it are organized. At the top level, you have the collection, and below that, you have series and sometimes subseries. The series and subseries allow you to see how the content in a collection is organized. Series can be organized by function, like correspondence, minutes, or committee reports. They can also be organized by format, photograph, AV, scrapbook, etc., or they can be organized by topic or subject. Folders and items are the most specific content description. And we usually describe things at the folder description and not the item description. So folders and items make up series and subseries, and the series and the subseries make up the collection. We will see examples of these terms and what a finding aid looks like soon. Here we are at the Archives and Finding Aid database. This is where you search across all our archival collections to find materials related to your research. Let's do a search in the Finding Aid database. Let's search Philip Hoffman. Keep in mind that searching names using different versions of the name often yield different results. For example, if I had searched Philip G. Hoffman with a middle initial, I would have gotten slightly smaller results. So always try different search terms. Here we get 7 results. The Finding Aid database lists collections at the top of the results. In this case, it's the Hilton College records. Below the collections, we can find specific folders that contain content related to Hoffman. Let's look at this result. Hoffman Philip G. Hall, Social Sciences Building. Below the name of that folder, we can see that it's a folder. It says that it's folder 27 and box 21. This folder is found at the special collections, and everything you find in this database will be from our collections. After that, you'll find the collection number as well as the collection title. And after this, you always find the series level name. And the series name for this collection is location. We deliver content to the reading room by the box. So if you wanted to see this folder, we would need to know the collection title and the number and the box number. Below this, we find the date of the content in the folder. And below that, we find a scope and content notes. This is a descriptive note that includes the type of materials as well as the dates of the materials. You can have a scope and content note at the collection level or at the series or subseries level. This one says that it's from the series, which means that it describes the series called location. Let's click on this result to get to the folder record. This is a folder, so we click on it and we'll get to the folder record. From this view, we'll find information that we've already found in the results, but there'll be a few extra bits of information. One special and brand new feature are these 3 links to photographs in the folder that have already been digitized. If you click on these links, you'll be taken to the digital collections where you can download the image. And Bethany will talk a little bit more about searching the digital collections in a few minutes. To the right, you will see collection organization, and you'll see that our folder, highlighted in red here, is surrounded by all of these other folders. So it looks like these locations have been organized alphabetically. And there's a lot of location photographs that we have in that collection. And if we scroll up, we'll see that all these folders are in location. And if we collapse that, we can see the UH photograph collection and all the series within it. We can click on any of these series and we will get to the description of the people series or the description of that series. Underneath that, you will see the folders in that series, again, alphabetical by last name of the person in the photograph. Here at the top is the description of the UH photographs collection, which we also call the finding aid. You can get to the finding aid here or here. So let's look at the finding aid for this collection. The collection name and collection number. We're in collection overview. Though it's not labeled, this is actually the scope and content note. It contains information for the entire collection, whereas the folder record that we looked at had just information for the folder. This is the dates of everything in the collection, the creator for the collection, Conditions governing access. This is open for research, and most of our collections are, but if not, you can contact the curator about possibly seeing the collection. Conditions governing use have to do with copyright, and you'll want to look at that if you want to publish something. Below that, we have the extent, which is the size of the collection. A linear foot is about the size of a banker's box, which is about the size of a copy paper box, a little bit bigger than that. So 103 copy paper boxes, that's a pretty big collection. Below that, technical requirements to view the materials. And below that, digital collections. So not every collection that we have has a digital collection related to it. But this particular collection, the UH photographs, has 3 digital collections created from it. And it's important to know that not everything in the UH photograph collection is included in the digital collections. But we've digitized selections and made them into 3 collections, one which is U of H buildings, one which is the U of H campus life collection, and one that's the U of H people collection. We have subjects, collecting areas, creator, information on who created the finding aid, as well as repository information below that. Now, let's go back to our presentation. What can you find in the Special Collections Catalog? Primarily books, many rare, but also programs, magazines, newspapers, videos, LPs, and other items. Most of these are published materials, and this is where you'll find materials that are not a part of an archival collection. We often forget to check the catalog for primary documentation. Materials that are found in Special Collections Catalog that are particularly useful to researching U of H history is the Houstonian Yearbook, the Cougar Newspaper, the Board of Regents Minutes, UH and department newsletters and magazines, programs, and published commercial AV. Also keep in mind that the Houstonian Yearbook is available completely online, and the first several years of the Cougar newspaper from 1928 to 1933 are available online. Let's search through our Special Collections catalog. Let's search African American Studies. Squiggly lines usually indicate you've misspelt something, but in this case, I just haven't alphabetized them, so it should work. Let's give it a try. So we got 2,851 results. There are several ways to use the advanced search to limit your results. But it's always kind of a good idea to start with a real general search like this and see what you can find. We find some materials related to U of H, like this newsletter for the African American Studies program. And I'm particularly interested in my search with things that have to do with the U of H program. There's other materials here, like this African American Studies program that's also related, but it's mixed in with other material related to African American Studies. Let's go ahead and click on the newsletters though and see what we can find. At the top of the catalog record, we find the title and the author and the date of publication. We also find out that this is available at the U of H Special Collections and not in the main library. We scroll on down, we find the collection information. And one really important part here is this call number. It's a series of letters and numbers, and you'll need that number to request the book from us. Something to keep in mind that All of our archival materials and our book materials are available in what we call a closed stacks. That means that we're going to need to retrieve the item for you, that the public's not allowed into the stacks. We make these available in the reading room, and they're only available to be used during our business hours. And they're also not loanable. We wish we can loan them, but some of these things are the only copy in the world of that particular item, and a lot of them are very, very fragile. And this is how we can ensure that they last into the future. Below this, there's also some interesting features, such as the creator includes a link to everything that was created by U of H African American Studies. And this is a great way to limit your search. Here we find 4 items. We may have limited too much though, so it's always good to play around with your searches and try different ways. Well, let's go back to the record that we were looking at. Here we are. The catalog record for the newsletters. And if we go down to the very bottom of the page, there's an interesting virtual browse where you can see what items are on the actual shelves, besides, to the left and to the right of the item you're looking at. This is interesting because this is what you do when you go find something on the physical shelves. But since you can't go into the special collections, we have a way for you to do that virtual browse. Also, don't forget to check the main library's catalog, but that's outside of today's instruction. And now I will turn it over to UH Special Collections Digital Collections Coordinator, Bethany Scott.
All right, thank you, Mary. So today I'm going to be showing you how to find selected materials from the archives that are already digitized and available online. So you can look and start doing your research anywhere that you can access the internet. So first up, I'm going to show you the UH Digital Collections. This is where you can find lots of different types of historical and primary source materials that have already been scanned. And digital collections include materials such as photographs, letters, newspapers, official UH documents and publications, and more. And so you can either get there by clicking the link in the slide deck, or you can also, from the Special Collections homepage, you can click this button right here, and that'll take you straight to the digital collections. And so on that note, here's the homepage for the digital collections repository. There are basically 2 different ways that you can start your research, either search or browse. So I'll go over search first. So as you can see on the homepage, there's a really big search box right up at the top, and that's where you can enter your keywords that you're looking for. For all of the books and other text-based materials that are in digital collections, there's a full text search. So when you enter your keywords here, it'll search through the whole contents of the book. Also, you can use quotation marks here if you want to search for a specific phrase. So I'm going to try that out. I am going to search for Phi Slamma Jamma. And let's see what we get. Okay, so as you can see here in the search results, with the exact phrase Phi Slamma Jamma, we came up with 12 items. It looks like there's kind of a mix of some photographs, programs, newspapers, and also the Houstonian Yearbook. Now, on the search results page, there's a couple of things that I want to highlight. We have some sorting options here. You can also change the number of results that you see per page, and you can toggle back and forth between the list view and the gallery view. The gallery view basically shows you, kind of the thumbnails of the items, and in the list view, there's a few more details. So you can see the date, the copyright, and the provenance or the original collection that the item came from. With the sort options, you can sort by date. And so this is really good if you know that you're looking for a specific time period. It will put all of the items in date order, so you can go right to the date that you're looking for. And so on that note, I'm gonna go ahead and open the yearbook and show you how to search inside a book for a term that you're looking for. But first off, just to kind of orient you on the page here, this is an item page, and so we can see the title and the date here. On the right, there is the digital collection that this comes from. So this is the Houstonian Yearbook Collection. And if you click on that, you'll be able to see all the yearbooks for every single year. Then, of course, we have the book here. And to the right of that book viewer, we have some different links here. These are all the clickable links for subject headings, the plays, the type, the language. And so if you click on any one of these, you'll be able to see all the other items that have the same term. So you can kind of see more results that are related to the item that you're looking at. Okay, but now I'm going to go ahead and search inside this book so that we can see exactly where Phi Slamma Jamma shows up in the yearbook. So now that I typed that in, you can see it took us down to page number 50. And this is in the yearbook, the article that they wrote about Phi Slamma Jamma when the basketball team went to the Final Four, and everyone was really excited about that. So the yearbooks are great to see different events that were happening, different organizations on campus, and lots of photographs, and also the commentary in these articles that was written about everything that was going on. So highly recommend the yearbooks for your UH research topics. Okay, so now I'll go ahead and show how you might browse the collections. So I'm going to go back to our homepage here. And so under the search box, you can see we have these kind of browse options here. You can browse collections, images, text, audio, video, and exhibits. So let's say you know that you need to find a photograph to use like in a paper or presentation for a class project. So you could start out by just clicking images, and this will bring up all of the photographs and images that we have in the entire digital collections. And from here, you have several ways that you can start to narrow down your search results. So you can see here on the left-hand side, there's this set of options to limit your search. This is where we can start adding in more filters. And there's a couple that I want to highlight that are really useful. So the first one that I want to show is this genre term right here. When you think of the word genre, you might think of like mystery or sci-fi, but in this case, what it's talking about is kind of the original format that the item was in. So, photographs, we have black and white photographs, all different types of documents. And so I'm going to go ahead and add in black and white photographs. And you can see it's starting to narrow down the number of search results that we have listed here. Another great one of these terms to use is this provenance field down here. So this is indicating the original collection in the archives where the item was derived. So you can see University of Houston Library Special Collections here at the top. We have lots of images and documents from special collections. So, you know, that's where most of them came from. But there's several others here as well. You can see University of Houston archives. So this is where you can add in the UH archives to see everything that comes from university archives in digital collections. And so you can see just by doing that, we reduced our number of search results from over 8,000 to about 1,000. And these are all going to be materials from university archives. You can also remove a filter up here by clicking the X button, and it'll remove that. So that's one way that you can kind of go back and forth with your search results. Okay, so the next thing that I wanted to show you is our AV repository. So let me go back. Okay. And open our audio video repository. So this is where you can stream audio and video recordings from the archives. And there's kind of two ways to interact here as well. Again, you can search for your keywords. You can also browse using these buttons up here. The first tab will just browse all the items. The second tab will show you the different collections. So let me highlight that first. So on our collections page, you can see a variety of different collections from special collections. And also from the Architecture, Design, and Art Library. And if I go to the Browse tab, you can see here, this is all of the items that are in the AV repository, mostly moving image or video, just a few sound recordings. And if we take a look at the collections, you can see they are mostly from KUHT Film and Video. And so these would be educational programs and news programs and other recordings that were made at KUHT on campus here at UH. We also have several other collections. This is our home. It is not for sale. Includes video interviews with local residents talking about the Riverside Terrace neighborhood near the UH campus and their experience of redlining and desegregation while they live there. There's also the Barbara Karkaby Living Archive series. This includes interviews with notable women from the Houston area and a lot of interviews that took place at UH and talking about UH history. And so that is about everything that I had to demonstrate for the digital collections. If you have any questions about searching or you can't find what you're looking for, please do feel free to email me and I would be happy to help. And so with that, I will hand it over to Emily to talk about making research appointments and researching in person in special collections.
So let's say that you've searched the finding aids and the catalog for research materials, and you want to come in and use them for your research. There's a few things you'll want to know about how to access UH libraries and special collections. First, don't forget to bring your Cougar card to get into the main library. You'll have to swipe your card to get through the new security gates in the lobby. Special Collections is open by appointment only within the hours of 9 to 5, Monday through Friday. You'll need to book an appointment prior to coming to Special Collections because we aren't taking drop-in visitors at this time. Please email Emily Deal to make your appointment at endeal@uh.edu. In addition to requesting a day and time for your appointment, you'll also be asked to tell us the collection or collections and which specific boxes you'll want to look at. That way, we'll have the materials on hold and ready for your appointment time when you come in. More information about making an appointment and visiting Special Collections is available on our website at the URL on the slide. And finally, just a few notes about the etiquette in the reading room. It's a quiet zone in the library, and it's not a general study space. When you're in, please feel free to ask the archivist or librarian on duty any questions about the collection or about your research topic, because we're always happy to help. And if you can't make your original appointment time, or if you're running late, please let us know as soon as possible beforehand. Here's what to expect when you get to Special Collections. First, we're located on the second floor of MD Anderson Library by the red elevators. When you come into the library, it's straight back from the entrance and up the circular staircase. If it's your first time in the reading room, you can expect to fill out a patron registration form with your contact information and ID number. Laptops, cameras, phones, notebooks, and pencils are allowed in the reading room so that you can take notes or pictures of the materials to refer to in your research later. Pens and other permanent markers are not allowed in the reading room. Any purses, backpacks, or bags are also not allowed, but we have lockers that you can use to store your belongings while you're looking at the collections. The boxes or other materials that you have requested in advance will be ready for you to use when you get here. Here's an example of what a box looks like and the folders inside. The folders will be labeled with folder numbers, titles, and dates of the materials found in the folder. When you're using a folder of archival materials, there are a couple of best practices for handling the materials to keep in mind. You'll have an out card to help you mark the place of the folder when you take it out of the box. Only remove one folder from the box at a time, and make sure that you keep the folders in number order when you put them back. And when you're looking at the contents of the folder, turn the pages like you would pages in a book. That way, the items will stay in order in the folder when you're done. Here are some hints for conducting your research to make the most of your time in the reading room. Of course, taking notes either on your laptop or handwritten is super helpful. If there are specific quotations or just general information, such as dates and names that are relevant to your topic, it's a good idea to keep track of all of that information, as well as the source where you found it. In addition to taking notes, you can also use your phone to take pictures of the items to go back and look at later when you're not in the reading room. But whether you're writing your own notes or taking pictures of the items, make sure to record the box and folder number so that you can find the items or documents later. The box and folder number is important for your citations if you're writing a paper, and it also helps those of us in Special Collections find that item again in case you realize after the fact that you want to have it digitized. And on that note, for any digitization requests, it's very helpful for the original items in the folder to be flagged so that we can make sure that we're digitizing the correct item for you. So when you're in the reading room, if you know that you want to have something digitized later, you can ask the archivist or librarian for some flags, which you can place in the folder next to the item you're looking for. And that way we can easily identify it later when we're doing the scanning. And if you have any questions about that, please always feel free to ask the librarian or archivist in the reading room for additional help. So if there are items that you would like to use in a presentation or publication, and they're not already available in our digital collections online, we can provide on-demand digitization services to provide you with a high-resolution image file that would be suitable for publication. Information about the services and the different options is available on our website, and the URL is here on the slide. There are a few steps to making a digitization request. You'll fill out a form where you basically provide us with some identifying information like the collection name, box number, and folder number of the items that you need to have digitized. As we mentioned before, make sure the items are flagged in the folder if possible. If you're in the reading room flagging the items, you can even fill out the form while you're in there, and the archivist or librarian can help you with that. And then when Special Collections is done scanning the materials for you, you'll receive a notification email with a link to download the image files. The turnaround time for digitization requests is 2 to 3 weeks. We complete the requests on a first come, first served basis. So if there aren't already a lot of other requests in the queue, it could be less than 2 to 3 weeks. But please keep that 2 to 3 week time frame in mind if you can, and try not to submit the requests at the last minute before a deadline. And finally, Special Collections does not usually hold the copyright for the materials in the collections. So you may need to obtain permission to publish them from the rights holder if the items are still in copyright. Now, many items in the university archives will belong to the University of Houston, and the university's marketing and communications department can sign off on any of those materials. It's just another form that you'll need to fill out and submit to them. If that comes up, let someone in Special Collections know, and we can help you get the form and get it submitted to the right people. Items that don't belong to the university would be, for example, Houston Chronicle articles. You are free to use those as background research, but if you want to reproduce any historical articles in publication, you would have to go to them to ask for permission, and they usually charge a fee for that. So that's just something to keep in mind as you're looking at items that you might want to have digitized and use in a publication. And here are several URLs that will help you when you're searching for Special Collections resources online, including the UH Special Collections homepage, which you can find from the library's website, libraries.uh.edu. There's also a link to our Finding Aids database, as well as the Special Collections catalog for finding books and other print materials. There's the link to the UH Digital Collections, the UH Digital Library, and finally, the audio video repository. Thank you so much. Now we are happy to take your questions, and our contact information is also available on the slide. Thank you.